in here. Pardon my presence. You're on the air. Obsidian Radio. Go right ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say, Kanye West is not a racist. He's not anti-Semite. He said comments, and he had to apologize for it. This context that is Pearly a racist is not the issue. The issue is that she said something that was racist, and she should have to answer for that and apologize, and then we move on. Because here's the thing: everybody wants to quote Alex Haley, whether Alex Haley said it or not. Alex Haley's roots is not the only story about slavery. There's so many documentation of slavery, of Jim Crow, of redlining. There's no way that she could take that quote and turn it into a statement that slavery is embellished, slavery was used to control the masses because it wasn't that bad. That's BS. So let's put this in the proper context here. This has nothing to do with whether she's a racist. The fact that she said something that was inappropriate, that was factually incorrect, and she should be checked on it. And here's the one thing I want you guys to realize here. She had this guy on a show. Remember, she does a whole bunch of different programs with Black people on it. Whole bunch of different programs with Black people on it. Black people giving their opinions. Black people having different forms of debate. But on this particular interview, she has this white nationalist, however you want to label him. She has this guy on the show, and she has nobody there to either challenge his statements or to even give a debate, a response. Nothing.
Now,
Let me finish. So she had this white guy, and then here she is agreeing with some of his points. But here's the funny thing that you guys miss. He actually said, I'm not going to say it, but I'll let you continue, because he knew that where she was going with the slavery talk, he didn't want to be the one to make the comment. So he let her make that comment, and she fell into that trap and she made it. So yes, she has to apologize.
What's happening? What's good? What's going on? Part of my presence YouTube channel. I am back, a little bit of a hiatus, but I hope you were entertained by that clip that I just played. That's me in my rarest form on the Obsidian channel when they had a live stream. It's about an 8-hour live stream, and I hopped on in the 7th hour because from what I saw, a lot of people were talking out of their ass. A lot of people were making points that didn't make any sense. A lot of people were apologists. A lot of people pretty much were attacking either other Black men or other Black women. And I felt compelled to go on this show because, number one, I had time, and number two, I had been wanting to get this stuff off my chest, right? So I decided to go on there, and I dropped a bomb, and I spoke from the heart, and I spoke very passionately about the situation. And a couple of things that I realized. The issue is that people don't seem to understand what the problem is here. A lot of people are saying, well, what's wrong about talking about Black people being late and people being on CP time? That's not the issue. But she employs Black people and she pays them paychecks and she puts them in work. That's not the issue. And that ain't even to be celebrated. They're in the UK. We're in North America. We could get jobs. That ain't the issue. The issue is that, do people realize the type of person that Pearly Gates is? Because she's been saying it for a while now. A lot of people are upset now because of what she said. Now, let's be clear. It's not the joke about being late. It's not the issue about her saying, oh, Blessings is late and she's joking with a white supremacist and she can't have a white nationalist on her channel and have an interview. That's not the issue. And I said it in that clip. The issue was that she minimized slavery and she disingenuously used a quote from one man about his lineage and his story, which was a fictional story. No one ever questioned that. It was never brought forth as an autobiography, to discredit all of slavery, all of the atrocities of slavery, all of the events that occurred after slavery. To say it wasn't that big of a deal, or it's just used to control the masses because it wasn't that bad. Now, even if he said, oh, she was taking out of contents, that's not what she meant. Okay, like Obsidian was caping for her during his live stream, where she went on to quote unquote apologize and throw herself on the coals, right? But that's not it. If you go to the Crimson Cure, which is a black woman content creator that advocates for black men, I think you should be putting time and money into her. But if you go to her channel, she has other clips from Pearl making it known her stances on various things that are against black people. Where Pearl said that the slaves owned by, I think it was George Washington, how they didn't have it that bad, and how if he wasn't taking care of them, they would be homeless. And she says this to Sarah Garvey, which he needs to answer to this too, because he is fully aware and knew the positions and the stances that Pearly Gates takes, and he still decides to work with her. So he has to answer. He said nothing since, and I've been on his ass, and he hasn't said shit. But here's the thing. If enslaved people would have been homeless if they were not slaves anymore, wouldn't that because they couldn't afford to settle land, to buy land, to build their homes? And if they're not able to have money to do that, isn't that not because they were enslaved? They were not paid for their labor? What happened after slavery, when black people were freed? Did not black people earn money, build, settle, develop their neighborhoods and their land? We know about Tulsa, Oklahoma. We know about Greenwood. There's multiple areas and neighborhoods that were built from the ground up by black people, because we're the ones that were farming the land, because we were doing the hard labor to begin with. So we already had blacksmiths, we had farmers, we had people who were hands-on. We knew all those things. We were the experts. All we needed was the money to buy stuff, right? Which is a system that was created by those people, and they used us as free labor to build themselves up. But once we're able to earn for ourselves, we could produce for ourselves, we could create and build for ourselves. So this idea that a good slave owner is one that takes care of his slaves makes no sense. Because the biggest atrocity about slavery is the fact that it took away one's autonomy, one's ability to live as a free person, to make their own decisions, and to live life however they saw fit, and to work and thrive and build based on one's merits. That was taken away. This is on top of the physical atrocities, on top of the emotional and psychological atrocities, the breaking of families, the forced breeding, the whipping and the chaining and everything else. She's of the mind to tend to say that Harriet Tubman did not exist. She actually said that, I believe, in one of the clips, that it could be said that Harriet Tubman did not exist. This is coming from her own mouth. There's many clips of Pearl and her positions, and what's worse is that in the apology video that she did with Obsidian, and I don't know the relationship between Obsidian and everybody else, but I don't like him. I don't like his channel. I don't like what he stands for. I don't like his message. I don't like the fact that he caped for her. I don't like the fact that he reverted the discussion or diverted the discussion and took out his anger and his bitterness towards black women. It made no sense. But in that apologist platform that he gave to her, she was asked about her thoughts on reparations. And she boldly said, again, this is during the apology tour, quote unquote apology tour, she said, I'm against reparations. I don't see how we could do it. I don't see why people of today should have to pay for what happened many years ago. And she said in other clips the exact same thing. But again, this is the argument that I need people to understand. It's not about who was alive or who was not alive, or how could the debt be paid, or what's the logistics of it. That's bullshit, because no one said that about the reparations that were paid to Jewish people. No one thought it was too difficult to understand and how to get it done when it came to distributing the reparations for Asian people, the Japanese. You guys are aware that they completely moved and unsettled a group of people in a particular country to create the state of Israel. Talk about a logistics disaster, because look what's happening now in that same region. So you can't tell me that these things couldn't be done. And the worst part about it is that reparations was asked for and was demanded and was promised back when slavery was abolished, when they were actually alive. And it was never given, it was stalled out, it was delayed, it was deferred. So for someone to say, well, everyone died, no, we've been asking for it for decades. It just hasn't been paid because of negligence, because of the government or the people who actually gained from it refusing to pay, and kept kicking shit down the line, kept deferring, kept deflecting. That's the only reason. So you can't use that to say, well, it can't be done because no one's alive. No, you stalled shit out till people died. But guess what? The atrocities and the psychological trauma, it still lives with people till today. The effects are still seen in people based on what we actually saw during that particular live stream where she did the apology tour of Obsidian's channel. Because the amount of people who bootlicked for her, the amount of people who caped, who told her after she apologized twice that she didn't have to apologize. After she already said, oh, I'm sorry and I knew it was wrong, people said to her, no, it was not wrong. Do you know how uncomfortable she looked and she appeared after having just apologized and hearing a whole bunch of people saying you didn't have to? It was ridiculous. I didn't think that a person of that stature would actually take that position. It's retarded. So I was glad to see people like O'Shea Duke Jackson take a stand, MTR take a stand, although he did some bullshit as well. And big ups to the confidence creator, because he did a video about how MTR pretty much flubbed his reaction to it, but then he recovered and then he apologized and he saved face. So I appreciate the maturity in MTR's response and doing his research and coming back with, you know, a more succinct response. So I can appreciate that. But I'm glad I was able to see a lot of content creators come together and actually have a kind of united stance. But for this particular content creator, Obsidian, like I said, I don't know what his deal is, but the stuff that he was saying, it made no sense. No one's jealous of her. No one's jealous of her. It's not about her quote unquote success, because really it's not chalked up to her, because she has no expertise. She's not smart. She's not that articulate if we're to believe that she's as dumb as she claims to be, or how unprepared she appears to be. I would have to attribute her success to the black people on the show. The talent, with their openness and the willingness to air out their dirty laundry in the most entertaining way possible, in the most passionate way possible. The editors, who are able to put out multiple clips per day to feed the YouTube algorithm. The booking talent, which are also black as well too, for knowing who to bring on the show, who's going to be controversial enough. Those are all black people who are doing it for her. Those are the ones who we should be giving the credit to. And the thing is, if we actually looked at those people and said, those are the reasons why she's as successful as she is, then there's no reason why none of us can do the exact same thing as well too, and build up our own and promote our own and to offer assistance to our own. that's all I'm going to say for today, because there's so much to unpack with this whole situation. It's so layered on so many levels. But that's all I want to say today. Okay, I'm going to make this short and sweet, but I'm going to do more maybe later on in the week. I don't know, but I got to do more on this because there's more I want to say. But that's all I want to say for now. You let me know how you feel. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Next move, best move, part of my presence YouTube channel. Peace.